Hello wonderful people, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel, and it is time for the first video of Yearly Favourites Week 2021 as I bring you my top 30 remixes of the year. Yes, here we are, Yearly Favourites Week 2021, 5 videos coming up over the next week and a half or so. And if this is your first time watching these videos, always a big week on the channel and I hope you enjoy. Just a couple of quick ground rules for this video in particular. Here, I'm including any take on an original, so remixes, VIPs, flips, bootlegs, covers, whatever, as long as it is a take on an original and it is bass music, it can be included in this video. Another little rule to go with that, can't have any remixer mentioned twice or any original tune mentioned twice, and that is solely for variety purposes, because as we all know, variety, it do be the spice of life. Going from 30 to number 1 and kicking off with 30 more honourable mentions, those which just about narrowly missed out, and which are ordered alphabetically by artist name, again just before we get into the main list. And finally, I say this every year, and I'm going to say it again here at the beginning of every video, this is solely one opinion, my opinion, and I'm giving no definitive or objective views here. Quite simply, in these videos, my picks of the year of 2021 in bass music. And that being said, ready your own favourite remixes of the year in 2021 for some big discussion in the comments down below. I want to know all of yours, what are your picks of this year, and also to have a bit of a discussion about my list. What do you make of it? Is it bad? Is it good? Etc. That is the best bit, so drop your thoughts down below. But here we go, the honourable mentions for the top bass remixes of 2021 and the main list coming directly after that. Again, alphabetical order with these by artist name, and yeah, some that you will have heard of, some maybe not. I do recommend checking them out even though they're just outside that main list. But yeah, here you go, gonna show you them right now and see you guys in a bit.
All my ladies, pop your backs with it, pop with it, lean with it, pop with it, snap with it. All my ladies, pop your backs with it, pop with it, lean with it, pop with it, snap with it. All my ladies, pop your backs with it, pop.
Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and moving on now to the main list, and number 30, the Dossie X edit of Sight by Leotrix, and yeah, if you just imagine the original basically, but in a squeakier pitch with a bit of a frenetic drum and bass beat beneath it, loads of added colourful touches, and a bit of genre experimentation in the second half, then this is what, well, that is what this remix is all about, and a lot of you I think would like it, so do check it out. And at number 29 we have the Tears of Mine remix of No Games, which is one of the most simultaneously filthy and carefully assembled tracks that you'll hear all year. Absolutely one of mine on that front. Yep, amazing range of sounds, cuts very deep. It is good stuff. At number 28, we have the Long Story Short remix of Won't Let Go, which took a little bit of a while to grow on me, have to admit, but I have ended up loving it, and it's just the ghostly feel of those vocal jabs and the drops, just such a good idea. The atmosphere and the energy of it as well, just top notch, love it. And at number 27, we have the Camo and Crooked and Mephius remix of Last Jungle, which is just, I suppose, what you'd expect from this group of producers, full throttle D&B grunge, unpredictability, flawless production, a memorable vocal as well. Yeah, it's fucking good, riveting stuff. At number 26, we have the Technimatic remix of History, which is the best soothing and kind of calming bass remix of 2021 for me. A real sorrow to it, and everything here just tying together very well to provide that deep emotion. Yeah, a very moving remix. If you want to feel sad for a bit, definitely check it out. And at number 25, we have the Gentleman's Club remix of Lord and Master, which is just the definition of gun fingers. I mean, little more to say beyond that. The hype of this tune is almost too much to handle, like Skank Central, I'm in the rave, I'm going mad. Let's go. Number 24, we have the Jules and Rem K remix of Ego Death. A couple of trap stars here collaborating to great effect, and yeah, it's just a combination of impactful, well-angled drops, very powerful stuff, and a refashioning of a very memorable vocal. Yeah, it's a mean remix, I like it a lot. And then at number 23, we have the Granul remix of V-Drome, which is just dark, industrial, very mechanical, yet still with a world of life to it, I would say. And that contrast is very nice, and yeah, I love the pacing of that tune. The percussion is next level. It's like a very good kind of eerie. That's what I'll say. At number 22, we have the Sam Pacho remix of Disco Tool. Sam Pacho here just bringing the flavour, the sauce to this list. It is an absolutely sumptuous remix, like gorgeous, delicious, delightful, all those words. Yeah, just bubbling under the surface kind of house, and one of the purest forms of naughty that you could get. Big compliment right there. And at number 21, we have the Junkie remix of Your Love. A competition winner and all-round very emphatic remix, I would have to say. Just those stabs in each drop have just etched themselves onto my mind, onto my body. They're sticking to me like nothing else. Great execution. Love how that sound is repeated from the first drop to the second drop. It's oh so good. At number 20, we have the Fabian Mazur remix of Blood. Rare, I think, that bass music is just outright stupidly groovy and done well with a perfect swing and a sway to it kind of thing, and we definitely get that here. The drops just pull you right into their deepest depths, and the vocal is reworked superbly. Yeah, it's very good. At number 19, we have the Bad Jokes remix of Trippin', and I just absolutely love the brooding energy of this one. Just running through the whole thing, constantly feeling like it's creeping up on you, lurking behind, in the background, that kind of thing. And the acid influence is on point, the beat is pounding, the vibe is electric, and I just can't help but let it take over me every time I hear it. Ugh. Number 18, we have Veer with his Jerk Off VIP, which to me anyway is in many ways exactly what a VIP should be, just unleashing the original cut in a different format altogether. That being a bit of a jump-up structure and format that we get right here. And yeah, it was one of my favourite tracks of last year. The original, that is. So I was always going to enjoy this one, regardless of what he did. But yeah, super exciting with that jump-up layout. I love it. And number 17, the remix of Favourite Mistake by Knock 2, who had a mad 2021 and just had to come through with an incredible remix to go on top of everything else, didn't he? That is very much what he did. And yeah, just one of the best samplers, hands down. That is clear here, and one of the best in-house at the moment, absolutely 100%. That is also clear right here in this remix, and yeah, just wish it had been released earlier so I could have gotten used to it just a little bit more and placed it a bit higher here. I mean, the fact that it is here in this list, having come out just a few weeks ago, does say a lot. But yeah, so good. At number 16, we have the Caracal Project bootleg of Fade. I feel it fade. Yeah, just one of those gems that make you thankful to your past self for scrolling through SoundCloud just that 1 minute more. You know, I remember I was about to go off it and I was like, oh, just scroll for, you know, just a little bit more, and I found it, and it was indeed a gem. And if you just think of a Caracal Project take on that Kanye West original, then that is basically what it is, you know. Very to-the-point ideas, great production, insane flow, and just very down-to-earth as a remix overall. The vocal refashioned very effectively as well, again, and yeah, it's great. At number 15, we have the Godlands remix of Medusa, which is some of the best original vocal manipulation that you will hear all year, absolutely 100%. Very clever on that front, and to go with that, got a couple of booming, trappy, big room kind of drops, which are different in just about the right ways, I think, as a kind of transition from the first to the second drop. And just the awareness here of where to place sounds and notes and vocal touches here and there. Background stuff, expertly done. Certified banger. At number 14, we have the Sub Focus remix of Easier, which to me is just Sub Focus in a nutshell. A pretty simple, elevated D&B number, quite stripped back conceptually, but just so unbelievably effective in the conjoining of all the different parts and elements and stuff like that. The reach of the vocal is stunning, glorious, and the drops are subtle but empowering. And there's just a lot of feeling kind of emanating and radiating off it for something ultimately quite straightforward. Yeah, it gives me life. At number 13, we have The Dangerous VIP by Jade and Mindscape, which is for me as gravelly and kind of weighty as it gets in bass music. It is just one hit after another of heavyweight bass sound, like seismic stuff. Do look out for that if you go and hear it. But yeah, really do enjoy how the quite matter-of-fact vocal is worked in amidst the huge wubs that we get here. Again, please do look out for this tune, give it a listen. If you enjoy dubstep, you are going to like this tune quite a lot, so please do check it out. But yeah, love how it keeps your attention in the second half with the little changes from the first drop and whatnot. It is just prime naughtiness. Ugh. Number 12, we have the Tasoki remix of Nerve Damage, which is my outright favourite from the Must I Remixes compilation of Crisis Vision. The energy of it is sensational and kind of like the Gentleman's Club one in that it's just so hypey. And also pretty unexpected, I think, as a kind of stylistic choice for Tasoki. Just very much showing his range, well, the range of his talent as a bass producer. But yeah, some might say it's a bit too short, but for me, I think it's a perfect length to make it as explosive as it is. So, is good. At number 11, we have the Illenium and Virtual Riot remix of Blame Myself, which is a pretty out-the-blue collaboration, I have to admit, but very well done for large parts of it. I think the first drop in particular, which is very much Virtual Riot just kind of strutting his stuff with bits of Illenium dropped in nicely here and there. The vocal is gorgeous as well that they're working with here. It's just the second drop for me that does pale in comparison quite a bit with the first one in terms of how kind of statement making and gnarly it is. So that stops it from being in the top 10. Yeah, it just stops it a little bit from being placed that little bit higher. But overall, it is a pretty sick remix, I can't deny. Breaking into the top 10 now, and at number 10, we have the Scullion remix of With the Stick. One of the most underrated artists in bass music in my opinion at the moment, for sure. Scullion, no question, no doubt. Guy's got mad production skills, and this remix is brilliant. 3 markedly different drops, really tightly assembled and arranged and put together. And a lot of very fruity sound usage as well, you know, still quite dark at its core, but a lot of bright and colourful sounds dropped in here and there in the background and whatnot. Just a very cohesive tune when it could have gone off in loads of different directions and not quite worked and come across as a little bit scrambled, if you get me. But yeah, the definition of sound really there as well. It's just great fun. At number 9, definitely one of the meanest and nastiest tracks I've heard all year, if not the meanest and nastiest track I've heard all year in bass music. And you might be thinking, well, Connor, that is saying quite a lot, but I do mean it. I promise I do mean it. The elevated flip of Bulletproof Shower Cap. And I think good remixes of metal rap vocalists like Puya can be quite hard to come by. But when they hit, as we all know, they hit. And it's just the layering of sound here in these drops is just so thick and meaty. It's classic Stankface kind of material, you know, that kind of tune we're talking about here. And even with so much going on, the production in the heaviness is so sharp and clean and clear. Every little sound can be heard so well, and yeah, full on but controlled very well, and just a real depth and yeah, just grunginess to that heaviness. I love it so much for that. Properly evil music. At number 8, we have a VIP or updated version of a classic from one of the legends of modern electronic music. And that is our Guru 2K19 by Deadmau5. And for me, and to me, it's tunes like these that prove Deadmau5 to be one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. He's just got a level of musical understanding that most in this scene could only dream of. And yeah, essentially, it's just the original with parts of it in a different key. And I think if you are going to hear this tune and appreciate it fully, then you should hear the original before hearing this tune. But yeah, just unleashes a new emotion in it altogether and gives it a kind of previously unearthed sadness or misery or melancholy, which does sound a bit bleak, but it is beautiful, I promise. And very much reminds me of why I love his music. At number 7, we got one of those tunes where all the elements work together just right and it's incredibly catchy to go with it. And that is the Lowdown remix of Certified, which leads in beautifully with that velvety vocal, which is one of the biggest earworms I've heard all year, absolutely, no doubt. And the drops have got that pinpoint amount of balance between the bounce and the naughtiness of it, which, in my opinion, well, for me anyway, you just can't help but move along with it. It's just so infectious, again, like I said earlier. The transitioning between all the sections is very seamless as well, and very smooth, but with that devilish bite just lying beneath the instrumental for the whole thing. Very naughty and really well done. Just a perfect little bop. Coming in at number 6, we have one of my favourite house tunes of the year, and certainly one of the juiciest that I heard in bass music all year, and that is the Malar remix of Anything. And, you know, say what you want about Malar, the kind of meme that he's become in the recent past on Twitter and whatnot, and not knowing exactly who's making the music, whether it's just one person or a multitude of people for each tune. But the tunes are generated from this project. For me, it's undeniable. Alice in Wonderland's vocal is managed beautifully in the kind of interlude sections and the drops and whatnot. And the main bass line, straight up one of the best I've heard all year. Again, just so juicy. The production's really good and it just gets me going. Every time I hear it, my shoulders are moving, I'm bopping along with it. It's a very solid remix, and you cannot tell me otherwise. At number 5, we have undoubtedly one of the bass artists of the year, considering everything that he's put out, one of the biggest albums, and a collection of remixes to go with that. One of those being Feel It All, and the remix artist is, of course, Must I. I have to admit, I had quite a difficult time choosing between this and his Shank remix, but I think for me, this one just about edges it for that mix of sorrow and euphoria that permeates the whole tune, with a vocal that I must admit in itself I don't enjoy that much, like in the original, in the Company original, I don't really like it, but somehow Must I really makes it work. I feel like it's got to be the kind of rave influence to it that might give it a different life altogether and lift it up, that kind of thing. I think it would be that. But yeah, the drops are fantastic here as well, and just a very good reflection and representation of what his music's like. You know, a lot of gristle in there, but also a lot of high-reaching synth usage that makes you want to get your hands up and vibe to it. So yeah, a mad energy to this edit, and it gets me fired up, and it also gets me melancholic and reflective and a bit sorrowful. So yeah, very good. At number 4, we have someone whose production really came into its own this year, with this being, in my eyes, the best track from him in a very successful year overall. And that is Killfeed with his remix of Pull Up. This is everything that I love about neat, nifty, well-cut bass music. You know, the introduction gets you in the mood right from the very off. And then from there, it is some of the cheekiest heaviness that you'll hear all year, absolutely. Just an amazing dynamic here between all the sounds going on, and it's super clean with the snare. And the changes from the first drop to the second drop are sensational, and then further on to the third drop, which is kind of like a kind of second half of the second drop. But anyway, the flow just gets better and better as it goes on. The original vocal is dropped in really well. And I think for what it's going for with this one, there's next to nothing that I would change about it. I think in the important moments, it does absolutely everything right, and I wouldn't change anything about it in those vital points. So yeah, it's so good. Coming in at number 3, not that often that progressive house gets notably dark or evil or menacing, whatever you want to call it, or is mentioned on the channel, if I'm being honest. So yeah, sometimes though it does just hit in all the right bassy ways and is very difficult to put down. And that is the case with the No Manner remix of Disconnect. There's a lot to love about this one. The surging energy just running through it from start to finish, and the way it develops and mutates and evolves over its course, it just makes all the right steps and choices from start to finish. And I also love how the angelic vocal is kind of deployed and worked in, and how it rebuilds in the middle and the midsection as well. And I think, you know, well, maybe the most important thing, just the infectiousness of that beat just kind of chugging along. And like I said, very difficult to put down and tear yourself away from, and it all coheres very well into this very well made and arranged and down and dirty house number. It's kind of like a massive locomotive just kind of chugging along, motoring down the train tracks, you know, that kind of vibe. But yeah, I mean, No Manner in full flow. At number 2, we have my favourite VIP of the year, of one of my favourite tunes from one of my favourite 2020 albums. And a great example of unleashing new life in an original without changing all that much. And that is the Parallel VIP by Metric and Graphics. Already, as we all know, a very, very powerful single with the alluring vocal, the bounding D&B beat, the chopping and the drops with the vocal as well, the heroic feeling just kind of laced throughout the whole thing. But when you add a super scenic 2-minute introduction before all of that, it just makes it even more epic and just kind of extends the story of the original really effectively, drawing you in even further. Builds play a massive part in that as well, in kind of just embellishing that super scenic, atmospheric, landscapey kind of vibe. And yeah, it's just all the good of Parallel basically, with a little bit more sprinkled on top to make it again that bit more epic. And yeah, just feel like it'd be the perfect start or end, to be fair, to any set that he plays. I imagine he does play it, but yeah, it's just perfect for that. But yeah, just feel like I can conquer the world whenever I hear this tune. It's a great collab and I love it. But coming in at number 1, my favourite remix of the whole of 2021 in bass music. Now sometimes you want your number 1 to just be a bit of a statement maker, you know, something that to you or for you just resembles and represents everything that a remix should be about and that it should do, and is an incredible idea and is ambitious and is really well made overall, and which on top of that is just a fantastic piece of music in and of itself. And yeah, my number 1 this year, it's the Rushdown Mega Collab remix of We Don't Play. It just, it has to be. When I tell you that this remix is exactly what it says on the tin, I mean that with all my heart, my body, my brain, literally everything. Because yeah, what we get right here is a Rushdown-led 40-odd artist, colour-basified kind of version of the original. And matching that original and everything that comes with it pretty much section for section. You know, there are a couple bits here and there that aren't quite, you know, the exact same as what we get in the original in a different way, but pretty much just mirroring it front to back, which to me is just incredible and such a good idea. And I must admit, you know, I'm not going to stand here and say it's perfect. It isn't knockout good front to back. I will say that, but there are some fantastic sections here and moments considering just how many people worked on it. Again, over 40. It's just incredible. Never gets muddled in any way or loses its way. It's such a feat. It's a project in and of itself, even though it is just one single. And, you know, I'm just left thinking, kind of, would I expect something with 40 plus people on it to even be coherent? No, and it is extremely coherent and it goes way beyond that. You know, even the meme aspect of it, they get so on point with the outro. Just incredibly clever and a great idea, and I can't even begin to imagine just how much went into making it work. Again, 40 odd people, the amount of ideas that are going to be going on there and how many people are injecting concepts and ideas and the stuff that has to be sacrificed. Like, how do you settle on what works and what's good and how you're going to make it function? I just don't get it. It's an amazing thing, and it kind of baffles me that this didn't win the remix competition. But there is going to be a good reason for that. I don't know it. I don't think we're ever going to know it, but it is what it is. But for me anyway, the concept here alone with this remix is just everything that a remix should be. And big ups to Rushdown and all involved. This is absolutely, mile and away, my remix in bass music of 2021. But there we have it, my top 30 bass remixes of 2021, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. As you all know, a lot to look forward to in the near future. Got top compilations coming up next in a couple of days, and I'll just be keeping it going from there, one by one. So yeah, on that note, you want to make sure that you're subscribed and have hit the bell along the way so that you're notified by each one that comes along. Let me know what you thought of my list down below in the comments, and also add your favourite bass remixes of 2021 in the comments down below. I want to hear them all. Let's get the discussion going. I'm excited for it. But beyond that, keep it naughty, and if it's naughty, then you know. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace.